Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, this is Kushali, the community manager for Jobs for Her. Thank you for attending this webinar, firstly. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our speaker, Bhavna Dalal. Bhavna is a leadership coaching and into training. She is a certified coach by the International Coaching Federation. She specialized as a leadership coach and a facilitator and led to a variety of opportunities for her to work in technology, startups, and Fortune 500 companies within the education, retail, banking, consulting, NGOs and technology industries. She comes with a global experience having worked in South Africa, US, and India. She holds a bachelor's in electronics from Bombay University, an MBA from IIM Calcutta, and the PCC and ACC certifications from ICF. Sorry. She serves as a chairman on the board of directors of Bodhi Education Society, and which is a not profit for support school in rural Andhra Pradesh and India. So we welcome you, Bhavna, on this webinar, and we have a few attendees still joining in. Meanwhile, we'll start up with the session. Thank you so much for your time. Over to you to brief about motivate our women who are looking to restart their career.
Thank you so much, Kushali and Neha and the entire team at Jobs for Her for so graciously hosting me. I'm really happy to be here. Let's take a minute just to acknowledge, how grateful we are to be able to be taking these steps in our careers. I really hope that whatever we do here this hour is useful to everybody who's here, and I can also learn from all of you. That's my intention. I'm coming with the intention to make it as useful as possible. We will be doing a couple of exercises. If possible, if you can grab a pen and a pencil or a paper and a pen, which will be very useful. Even the notes on your phone will work just fine. If you can get a pen and a paper, keep it handy. That will be very helpful. Okay, so let's start with what we have planned today. Definitely, we'll come to all of you and hear from everybody as well as we go along. A little bit about me. Like Shali mentioned, in my career I transitioned from being an engineer to a dedicated stay-at-home mom, and now to being the leadership development specialist. I also write regularly for Forbes magazine under business and strategy, and I've published a book called Team Decision Making. I'm going to tell you a story. So, when it came time for me to go back from being a stay-at-home mom and starting with my second career, the story will kind of tell you how I was thinking. So, once upon a time, there's a man on a horse riding, and he comes galloping quickly down the road. And it seems as though the man had something very important to do and somewhere important to go. So there's another person who's standing alongside the road. He shouts and he asks him, "Where are you going?" And so the man on the horse replies, "I don't know, ask the horse." So I found myself in a similar situation where I found myself thinking differently about the path I wanted to really take in my second career. I wanted to truly discover myself, and I wanted to know why I was here and how I could, make myself useful by using my strengths. So I strongly felt like I wanted to be more than who I was every day. Like every day, I wanted to be more than who I was yesterday. This is a little bit about my book. It's available on Amazon. It's available more as an ebook, but if you are interested in a copy, please reach out. And it's been endorsed by the CEO of Target and by Marshall Goldsmith himself, who's #1 coach. So if it's of any use to you, please go check it out. It has the insights that I've had with my workshops and one-on-one coaching that I've done for some executives. Am I being heard clearly? If anybody's facing a problem, please quickly type into chat so we can see what we can do about that. And so here's a chance for you to use your chat again. It would be great to know what exactly you are looking for from this webinar. Can you please type into the chat and send it to everyone or to me? What are you looking for? What are you looking to gain? Anybody? Okay. Okay. So we really haven't gotten any answers, but in case somebody wants to speak up, please feel free. Oh, I got
No,
something.
Neha, this
Yeah, in case if
Okay,
you're not
so
able to type in, please unmute yourself and you can also reply to
yeah, that would be great too. I did hear from someone, they said this is their very first webinar ever. So they're here to experience it, and also leadership coaching is of interest to them. So, okay, fantastic. That's so some of it I will be doing, which I do in my regular leadership development workshops, and there's a little bit of piece that will be of interest to you. And I think overall, when you reflect, then hopefully this will make sense to you. So great. Anybody else wants to share anything? Okay. Okay. Let's get back to the slide then. And okay. So our agenda for today will be, we will look at, I'm looking at it from the three C's angle. Of course, there'll be a lot being covered under each of the C's, but the way I'm looking at it is change, challenges, and then charging ahead. So what you're going to do now is when you take a break and you want to start a career again, it is a change. It is a change. Let's acknowledge that first. It is a change, and the more you can accept and embrace the change and lead it yourself, the chances of you being happy and getting more out of the change that you make are. So, and change can be very, very hard. Just by its nature, our brains are used to processing everything based on their past experiences and what they're familiar with. So once you have a change coming, it almost instigates a fight or a flight response in people. So you do tend to get confused. You do tend to don't understand what's exactly going on. And I experienced all of this when I was also going through my journey. And I'll tell you another story here that there was once this criminal who had committed a crime. Hey, because that's what criminals do and that's their job. Anyway, he was sent to the king for his punishment, and the king told him that he had a choice of two punishments. He could be hung by a rope, or he could take whatever was behind the big, dark, scary iron door. So, and so he had to make a choice. The criminal quickly decided on the rope. As the noose was being slipped on him, he turned to the king and asked, by the way, out of curiosity, what's behind that door? So the king laughed and said, it's funny, I offer the same choice to everybody and almost everyone picks the rope. So the criminal said, tell me what's behind the door. I mean, obviously I won't tell anyone, he said, pointing to his noose. So the king paused and then answered, freedom. But it seems that most people are so afraid of the unknown that they tend to immediately take the rope. So that tends to happen with all of us, and I think I experienced the same thing. Here is a little understanding of the entire life cycle of change. Even if we want things that we think we want them, sometimes we are not completely ready for them. And before anything else, I think we all need to acknowledge whenever you've taken a break, that you've taken a break. And be proud of the fact that you've taken a break and accept that there was a break. I was in denial for a long time, although I was doing volunteer work and I was doing different kinds of projects which didn't make any sense. but they just fit in my schedule because the kids were at school at that time. And they did help me. And I don't say this to my clients, but between you and me, between all of you, I wasn't admitting that I had actually taken a break. So accepting that you've taken a break and that now you are coming back, that's a big, road to cross, so to speak. And you need to lovingly accept that fact, putting the blame that, oh, if I had not taken a break, things would have been so much easier and I would have been here and I would have been there. That really is not very helpful. You took a break, own that break. You took a break for a reason and now you're back. So, there is a whole thing that you did. You obviously had your reasons that you could do it and you took a break and now you want to come back. So we will deal with more of the first three things in effective change management, which is motivating change, creating your vision for that change, and developing support for yourself as you make this change. I was an engineer. When I was 21, I'd gone to South Africa all on my own when apartheid was just lifted, and then from there I went to the US on an H-1 visa just by myself. But when I took a break, I did not realize that somewhere I'd lost my confidence. And I was surprised by my own lack of confidence. I couldn't believe that I'd lost confidence. But if I had not lost that confidence, then I would have been more restless, staying at home, taking care of the kids. And I would have been really, really unhappy. So I was very happy when I was home. But the end product of it was that somewhere along the way, I had lost confidence. But even confidence can be rebuilt, and you can work on it when you're ready. So that is one thing that I really want to communicate. Also, the tendency to be hard on yourself because you took a break, but you did the best that you could, and you have to know that. So when you are now trying to change, there are always restraining and driving forces with any kind of situation. And what happens is that for you to bring about productive change, the driving forces have to obviously be stronger than the restraining forces. So you probably need to understand what is restraining you and what is really driving you. It is an emotional journey. Any journey where you want to achieve something, where you want to work towards something, it has a typical path that it follows. Initially, there'll be excitement, there is fun. You'll attend a few sessions, maybe some networking meets. You'll meet some people, you start getting excited, and then slowly you say, oh, but nothing's really coming of it, and you really, really are down in the dumps. And then if you keep at it, it takes you further and further. So the challenges of what makes it so hard, let's just bring them out and talk about it a little bit. And I'll share some of the challenges that I faced when I was trying to come back. Does anybody want to talk about some of the challenges that they're facing? This is your session. The more you can share, the better idea you'll have for what you may need to do forward. So if you can share your challenges, it'll really be helpful. And if not, if you're just curious, that's fine too. Or you can speak up. Anybody? Okay. Even as we go along, if somebody is interested, please share your challenges. But here are some common challenges that we as women especially face, especially when you are taking a change, a gap, and you're trying to come back, and you need all the support that you can get.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah? There are a few chats which are coming up on the challenges that they're facing, and if you're not able to see it, I can read it.
Oh, I can't see them. Oh, yes, I see it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Kalpana, looking for career restart tips, best places to look for, pathway, etc. Yes, we will share some of that as we go along. Being able to set up a strong support system, beautiful, Bhavna. That's another Bhavna. That's a very, very good point. And I applaud you for thinking about that. Reena, on how to restart your career and how to prepare yourself. Very good. Neha's salary issues. Neha, could you describe a little bit more on the salary issues? I'm assuming that they are paying you less than what you think you deserve, right? Because you took a break. I'm a headhunter and I meet a lot of women looking at restarting, so my objective is to guide them well through this webinar. Okay, very well. Pratibha, not getting enough opportunities. Companies are not calling back due to a long 9-year break, although I was doing well before the break in IT, finance, industry, management, and at a VP position. They are paying very less. Okay, okay. So some of the things that you guys are sharing here. I think a lot of it was with regards to even positioning. How are you positioning yourself? Like I said, I took the break and you have taken a break and you acknowledge that you have taken the break. But you acknowledge that yourself. But when I speak to people, so when I speak to my customers and clients, whatever it is that you did, whether it was in my kids' PTA, to highlight whatever it is that you did in that 9 years. So my suggestion for that would be, sit down, take a hard look at it and package what you did in a way that is appealing to what the people want to hear. So you don't really change or you don't lie. That's not what I'm suggesting. You actually position yourself in such a way so that you don't completely glaringly show the gap. And honestly, the other point I would like to raise is that you want to work for people who believe in the same things as you do. And I've had very many senior CEOs who've told me that we feel that people are even more re-energized and they have a better outlook on things once they've taken a break. So sometimes it's about finding the people who are willing to invest in you for your talent and they don't care that much about the break. Another thing could be you need to retool and reskill yourself, and it could even be retooling and reskilling yourself and how you present yourself. And so a lot of my learning, there was only one training that I attended, which was a coach training, which actually changed my life. But beyond that, I do not pay for any other training. I'll be very honest. Everything is available on YouTube or on the internet to learn. The bigger part of our session today will be bringing out that motivation within yourself and guiding yourself on what it is that you really want to do and what it is that you need to do to learn what is needed to go to the next step. So if you figure out if a particular tool, if you're in technology, I understand technology well because I have been in technology. If it's a particular software language that you really want to learn, then you figure out how to learn that on your own. So as a leadership development coach, a lot of what I'm going to tell you is, stepping up for yourself. In terms of the paying less, again, it's how you position yourself, family expectations as well as besides professional opportunities. Yes, absolutely. We all, the culture that we belong to, we all always have to face that. The way it happened for me was you have to get strong. You have to get strong for yourself without you're not fighting with anyone, but you have to build your own strength. And very quietly and slowly through your work, through your efforts, you can demonstrate that to them. So I will share some of the other challenges, which are the underlying challenges, which nobody will talk about openly. So I really wanted to take this platform to share that because you will get a lot of jargon conversation in a lot of sessions, but I wanted to openly talk about the reason you sometimes do not get enough higher pay or you do not get to work the same hours as your spouse or is sometimes because we don't ask for what we need. So women generally are a little passive. We usually don't step up and ask for what we need. If you walk in confidently and say that I was making this much, and you also market yourself and manage your image and tell them of how wonderfully you enriched yourself in the few years that you were not working. And trust me, you can take 2 to 3 to 4 months and you can enrich yourself and learn some of the things that you can package with what you've done in the past. The other thing is putting other people's needs before your own. Now, we are typically wired to do this, I would say. Our conditioning is such that we automatically tend to respond like that. And it's not just Indian women, it's women all over the world. What I really want to emphasize is that it is possible to have a win-win situation. You can take care of your own needs, and you can take care of the needs of the others. I'm not saying that you do one without the other. And I learned that too. Lata said, do we have to mention what you have just said, packaging what we did during our break in the same resume? Because that is what decides the call for an interview. So yes, you will probably have to package it in your resume as well. Whatever you did, you can say that, do not just completely take away those years from your resume. You were doing something, right? You were contributing in some way. Maybe not directly to the workforce, but I think what people want to see is how were you contributing? How were you using your talents? It doesn't have to be necessarily in the workplace. And there will be many people who will reject it for that. You will equally find people who are willing to. And you have to tap into this talent crunch that the industry is facing right now. There is a tremendous talent crunch. That's why companies are holding seminars like this. Yes, somebody's mentioned the art of balancing work and life is extremely critical, but I also believe that work is part of life. So it's not about work-life balance anymore, it's about work-life integration. And that is what I feel has, oh, there's somebody's baby. Hello. So, and kudos to you, you have a baby and you're listening to the webinar, so fantastic on that. But coming to the challenges that I want to really genuinely and openly talk about, because these things are not talked about on the outside. Everybody will say, oh yes, I want my wife to do this and I want my wife to do that, and or my daughter-in-law, I want her to do this and I want my daughter-in-law to do that, or my, so, and genuinely there is an intention for people to, deep down they love you, they do want you to do well, but people are always fearful about what will happen to their life. So what happens is that women don't give themselves enough credit. I mean, even if you are supporting your husband's career by staying at home and taking care of the kid, he's able to do a lot more at his work because you are home taking care of your kid too, right? And there are families now, there are couples where they equally share the responsibilities. So again, how you manage this for yourself, it's up to you. And a lot of it will come. I'm hoping that a lot of it will slowly come because it came to me. I started in similar situations, but the important thing is to stick to it. Lack of support, like somebody mentioned. So, what happens is that we automatically assume that the people that we are supporting are the people who will support us back. Now that I found was a very, very interesting situation. The people whom you are supporting think of you as their pillars, okay? You are their support. So if the support starts looking for support, then the people who are relying on you will start getting shaky. They will suddenly say, hey, what's happening to my support? My support is weak, so what's going to happen to me? And it goes into this really not a very healthy loop. So what is important is to actually look for support. Don't worry about getting the support from the people who are your natural line of support. Say, for example, you support your parents and suddenly when you want to take a break, you're looking for support back from your parents. May not happen. But that does not mean that you will not get the support. And with me, what happened was that in one of my coaching, in the last coaching session, actually, I had a realization of how emotionally tired I was. And there was no way that I could go back into another career because I needed support for myself because I was the one always supporting people. So the coach asked me, who are the people that you can think of? And I couldn't think of anybody. And I said, hey, I have a sibling and I can reach out to. So I actually solicited support and I consciously created that support network by pausing and actually taking it up as a need and as a requirement. When we don't have support, we feel lost and confused at times, and that's very natural and normal. All of you are reaching out to such networks like Jobs for Her, and that's a great start. We tend to, because of all of this, we tend to go into a victim mindset. You suddenly want to blame things around you. You want to blame people, you want to blame situations, you want to blame yourself, you want to blame. Now, this victim mindset is never going to be helpful. And trust me, I've been through all of this by myself. So I'm not somebody who's claiming to be holier than thou. But because I've gone through it, I can kind of look back and see that this is just a waste. It's just a waste of your own precious energy. And when you blame somebody, you're giving that energy to somebody else instead of using it to further your own goals and happiness. So the moment you start blaming somebody, you start giving them credit. You start giving them your space. You start giving them your energy. Also, wearing these negative emotions is considered to be a badge of honor that, oh, I work late and I was so guilty. That I think is really, really a big problem, you know. A lot of why can you not be at work, be happy about the fact that you are at work, and then you are late? Yes. So your kid ate his food a little bit late, or you had to pick them up a little bit late from the daycare, say for example. You had to order food from outside because you couldn't cook one day because you were working late. And so you know, a lot of women, we tend to bend backwards to, no, we are used to eating at home, so I have to go home and cook, and I'm tired and I'm sacrificing so much. Over time, this is not going to be helpful. So you know, this part, please, I really want to highlight attention to this wearing our negative emotions as like guilt as badges of honor. Guilt and sacrifice, we tend to wear it as a badge of honor. In the long run, it doesn't serve anyone, really. At that time, you may sound really good, and if you need to, you wear it as a pretense. I'm not asking you to be manipulated, but if that is what a mother-in-law wants to hear, or somebody, you know, or even your boss wants to hear, you give them what they want to hear, but don't allow that feeling to penetrate inside you. That is leadership. You changing according to the situation, what the situation demands, that is leadership. So if they expect you to feel bad, you can show them that you're feeling bad, but you don't have to feel bad. You see what I mean? Worrying about keeping peace, being judged, pleasing others, very typical, very common. So you need to get over a lot of these emotions, or understand these emotions for yourself. You know, take the time to understand this. These are real issues and real emotions and real situations that you're faced with. Look at them objectively, practically. That yes, this happens. What is the reason that this happens? How can I deal with this better? You know, how will it help me? Another thing I faced was an identity gap, you know. So while I was somewhere in a part of me was dying to come back into the workforce and prove myself, and but there was a very big part of me which was the mom, right? Which was always around the kids' schedule. It was always doing things around what worked best for my kids. And even though verbally I was saying things that I want to work and I'm doing this, but it took me a while to let go of the identity of a stay-at-home mom. So I was, and the important thing is that you can have multiple identities. Acknowledge those identities and make them your own. It's not necessary, again, I want to emphasize that most things can be this and that. They don't have to be one without the other. And the biggest thing that we do is underestimate our own time, effort, energy, talent, and credibility. And there's been proven research. I think there was a Harvard Business Review research. There was a person was named as a man, and people were asked to uh, gauge their leadership skills, and then they changed that name to a woman. So the understanding of the skills remained the same, but people did not like the woman because she was standing up for herself. Um, and that's what, whenever you ask a man that, oh, you achieved this, how did you achieve it? And they'll say, oh, because I'm so good at it. And whenever you ask a woman that, and she'll say, oh, because I got help from this person. So we don't really stand up and take what is our own. You know, even if you cook well, you. I'm talking about really very basic, simple things. I'm not even talking about at work, but even simple things that you do. If you're good at organizing get-togethers for friends, you know, that's a talent. That's a skill. Use that skill in your resume. Package it well. You are, say, good at, really think hard about what you're really good at. Say you're really good at making people feel comfortable. So for me, where it all started from was I knew I was a very good mother. And I knew that I wanted to use that as in the workplace. And so I said, I'm not going to look at money for a bit because I could do that. And I said, I'm not going to also worry about what position I go in and what role I'm going to take. But I'm not saying that you all need to do that, but I'm just sharing my story. And I said, okay, but what do I do now? I knew I didn't want to go back to being an engineer and do coding. I was really, really not at all interested anymore in that. Although when I was doing it, I enjoyed doing it many years ago. So I just said, I want to be a mom. I want to be more and more and more of a mom. And that led me to being a coach, in which what you typically do is nurture people. So I'm nurturing CEOs of big companies by being their coach. So find that those talents that you inherently have, the things that give you real joy, and I bet you can use those skills in some form or the other in the workplace. It's just a matter of finding out how. Don't underestimate even those smallest of talents that you have. Really want to point out that energy flows where attention goes. So if you start paying attention to yourself, your talents, your desires, what really brings you joy, different from what your husband, your mother, your wife, or your, no, sorry, not wife, maybe wife, but regardless of all of that, start really paying attention to your own self as your own person, not somebody who's a mother or a husband or a wife or a spouse or a daughter-in-law, and really start paying attention to that. So that is the first step. The other thing about challenges, some challenges are technical challenges and then there are adaptive challenges. Now, the technical challenges that we come up with are, okay, they are not getting interview calls. We are not, they're saying, what did you do with a break? What is it that, what skills do you know? What are you going to bring to the table? Things like that. These are those little challenges. Where do I go to look for a job? And how do I go for an interview call? This, in my mind, are easier challenges. They are easily identified. They are quick and easy solutions. You can reach out to a whole bunch of job portals. Wait for a call. They need small changes. This is from an organizational perspective. But the bigger challenges are the adaptive challenges, and those are the challenges that hold you back, and they hold you back from getting the right job for you. And those are not really on the surface. But we will look at some of the technical challenges here. Like, you may have questions, where do I go? So I did a few networking events in the beginning, and I was like, what am I even doing here? Yeah, you meet a few people, and I was bored at home, so I went and met a few people. But beyond, so now I hardly ever go to any of the networking events. I go when I feel like I'm learning. I'm going to definitely learn something, or if the situation such happens that I'm there at that event. So in the beginning, but I'm not saying this may not work for you. So for some people, they may work, right? What I'm trying to say is, go to the networking events when you have more clarity on yourself, on what it is that you are going to bring to the table. At the end of the day, you have to add value to any organization. They do not care whether you've taken a break or not, honestly. Everybody wants value. They want their problems to be solved. They want something in exchange of you, which they think you can contribute. So if you are going to the networking events, demonstrate how you can add value to the people that you meet there. And for that, you need to do some internal work, some work for yourself on understanding how you can add value. And you need to trust yourself for that. You need to gain confidence for that. You need to know where you want to go in your life, towards what. And we'll do a very nice exercise on that front later. Anybody has anything to say, please feel free to share. This is, your session. Online job portals, meetups, like I said, these are the technical areas, and a lot of people will tell you this: go here, go there, and I'm not saying no. You'll figure it out. The moment you start figuring out your value, you will automatically know which are the right events to go to. I cannot tell you as a person who doesn't know you completely. The moment you will start talking to the people who will be able to help you immediately. You'll start reaching out to friends. You'll find something on email. You'll sign up for another webinar which will guide you further. So it is a journey like that. I mean, I guess the learning from my journey is, I was willing to be patient. I could take the time for it. But if it is immediate, then you do the same work, but you do it rapidly on yourself. Now, this is the part that I typically do of taking charge, which comes under leadership development, so to speak. And leadership can now be learned. For the longest time, it was thought that leaders are only born, and leadership cannot be taught. The reason it took so long for this to come up as a field of study and an area of research is because it relies heavily on many different disciplines. So it's a multidisciplinary approach, and the reason it took longer for me as well was because I had to skill myself in many different areas, in a lot of these different areas. So, like I said, all the learning I did was through YouTube videos. You just search for what you want to learn, and you can do that once you have clarity. But leadership is the ability to inspire or influence others towards the leader's team's or organization's vision. And more than anybody, first it's you. You have to be able to inspire yourself. These are the common leadership qualities that we generally expect in a leader, but the ones that I've highlighted, I think, are the ones that you need right now to be able to go back. You need to be inspired. You need to spend time with people or with things that inspire you. You have to be a little patient. You need to be as authentic as you can be. Of course, persistence, insightfulness, and the communication part. Step up, understand what you need for yourself, and ask for it. That one thing, if you can take away from today, I think will be a huge, huge thing. Understand what you need and just step up and ask for what you need. We very often do not. We get caught up in our own cloud of thinking and we don't step up and ask for what we really need. If it's a need, you step up and you ask for it, no matter who it is around you that you need to ask for. So sometimes when I'm confused, even now, I will ask myself this question: what is it that I really need? So leadership really starts with self, and you cannot give to others what you have not given to yourself first. This part is very, very important because I think before this, what the part that I'm going to talk about now is the part that really opened my eyes, and it's how we really make sense of the world around us. So, we are constantly bombarded on all our senses as a human being, or even as a living creature, with 4 million bits of information per second, out of which our senses can process only 134 bits in chunks of 7 or so at a time. What happens to this information? How is this information selected that you allow inside your sensory nervous system? It's because this information makes sense to your brain. It's useful to you. So if you notice, sometimes when you want to buy a new car, you'll start seeing that car and that model around you wherever you go. And you were not even noticing that earlier. Once this information that we take in comes inside us, we tend to use our natural filters of our past memories, the decisions we've made, and this is how the brain works. You have our strong values and your own beliefs, your attitudes. So we take in that information and we process it through this program, and some of this information is deleted, some of it is distorted, some of it we just tend to generalize because that's how it's going to be useful for us. And then we create an internal representation in our head, which puts us in a state. So if it's a good, happy event, then the brain decides that based on the memories, based on the past, okay, this is a happy event, and it puts us in a happy state. And our behavior, our body, the way our body behaves, the way our mind behaves, the way we smile then is in accordance with that. So the same thing, if you think about it, if you were to become really conscious and you were to step outside and see how you choose your behavior to be, you can actually work with some of these things like your values and your beliefs. So in leadership development and mainly in executive coaching, that's what we work with. You have people who are already doing very well and are successful, but they need to move in a certain area and there's something holding them back. So we work with them on that front. And there's another story I would like to say at this point is there was a millionaire who was bothered by severe eye pain. He consulted so many physicians and consumed heavy loads of drugs and underwent hundreds of injections, but the pain persisted. At last, he called this one Swami Ji, and or like a monk. He was like a Buddhist monk, and he called him, and then that guy understood his problem and said that sometimes he should that for some time he only needs to concentrate on green colors and not let his eyes fall on any other colors, and that will cure him. So the millionaire got together a group of painters and he purchased barrels of green paint and he directed every object that his eye was likely to fall on to be painted in the color green. When the monk came back to visit him after a few days, the millionaire's servants ran with buckets of green paint and poured it all over the monk because he was not supposed to see him in his red dress. Hearing this, the monk laughed and said, "If only you had purchased a pair of green spectacles worth just a little bit of money, you could have saved all these other things around you and the pots and the trees and the plants and whatever. So you cannot paint the world green. So let's change our vision and the world will appear accordingly. So it's foolish to shape the world and just let's shape ourselves first. So if we go with the thinking that I'm going for this interview and I'm definitely not going to get it because I'm lacking in this experience and I've taken a break and it's going to be like that. That's what the outcome is going to be. But if you choose to step up and decide that the break that you've taken, you were actually using it for these skills and you were developing yourself in this front and you were rejuvenating or whatever it is that you were doing. And then while you were, look back at what you did in those few years, again, I would like to repeat. And, don't think of it as that. So when you change your internal map of reality, you actually change your external experience of reality. And when you change the experience of reality, then the whole world will respond to you differently. I still remember a story when I was in the US in Starbucks, and it was after a long time. Both my kids were at a point where they were at a birthday party, and my husband was taking them for the birthday party. And I was at that time as well thinking about what I wanted to do. I need to do something. And this was many years before I actually even got to doing something. So my husband was like, why don't you go to a coffee shop? And while he took the kids to the birthday party. And when I went to the coffee shop, for the first time I saw the guy, I heard the guy talking to me. Like this was in the US in Starbucks. And he's like, oh, what's your name? And I found it so surprising. And I was like, why is he asking me my name? Or why is he even talking to me? I was so caught up in my kids before that I was always looking around at them and for them that nobody would even come to talk to me. So that when people actually made casual conversation, it seemed like a shock because I was without the kids and didn't have those kids to look around at that time. So it's really a lot to do with how you perceive your reality. And I'm not going into so much detail with the values and the beliefs, but once you understand your own intrinsic motivators of what gives you real joy, you will find the extrinsic motivators which will take you there. Both are important, the intrinsic and the extrinsic motivators, but you have to remember that the most important, your biggest job when you take a break is know your strengths and find your motivations. And the rest, you will figure it out, trust me. The other things, you will know where to go, whom to talk to, and you'll figure it out. But this will give you the confidence, look at your strengths, and it's not that people who are at work are anything different, It's not that they are doing anything very, really, really different from, it's even harder to be a mom or having taken care of, say, older parents or whatever is the reason that you may be taking a break. It's not that people who are at work are doing something really magical or very, very different, You were educated, you were at work before. You're capable of doing that much and more. It's about believing that you can do that. And that what you've done was not just stay at home and undermine what you did, but what were the skills, how did you utilize yourself then? And once you know your intrinsic motivators, it automatically gives you so much power and strength. And it really, really makes you more strong and it makes you a force to reckon with and it makes you really powerful, trust me. The one thing that really comes in our way is our limiting beliefs. So we have our values and our beliefs, and values are something that we really, really care about. But our beliefs are things that we believe to be true. And over time, these beliefs start limiting us. So they may have served us well at some point in time. I think usually by the age of 7 is when our beliefs are quite set. But when later in life, those same beliefs start becoming your limitations. And the way to identify beliefs is when you hear yourself saying, I can't do this, or I don't have time, or I don't have energy, or I just can't let go and forgive. And what if I change my mind? And I should have to do this. So like I myself had many limiting beliefs when I thought, oh, I can't work full time. I only wanted to work part time. And believe me, now I travel and I'm working at night if it needs to be done, and slowly things change, right? Because what is happening today is not going to be the same scenario 2 years down the road. Even your kids are going to be of a different age 2 years down the road. So you don't know what's going to happen. But when you limit yourself at that point, you don't take certain steps that may be needed, which will be useful for you. So really, really think hard about your own limiting beliefs. We all have fears, you know. Fear, in fact, a lot of the CEOs that I work with, one of the biggest fear of very many successful people is a fear of failure. Only when you have deep down, you have a rooted fear of failure, you work so hard because you're so scared of that fear that you become successful. And then, they get coached because you have to help them get rid of that fear of failure, because that fear of failure makes them obsessive and it's not healthy, and they're doing wrong things. So they may be successful at up to one point, but to go to the next level, that fear of failure is not really helpful. I myself went through fear of failure and a fear of success. When I started doing well, I suddenly started facing a fear of success, because like somebody mentioned, you have to integrate your work and your life, and you need to take care of your own self and that of people around you. There are fears of speaking openly, fear of uncertainty. So we all have fears, okay? Or even the biggest of executives, even the most successful of people have really little fears rooted deep down. And the way to gain confidence is, there's one single way in which you can learn to be more confident. And that is to actually go and do what you're fearful of. If you think that I'm going to send this resume, I don't think I'm suitable for this job, and oh, what will they say? People will laugh at me, people will ridicule me. Just go ahead and do those things. It takes a little practice, but slowly you will see that there's no stopping you there. Just start approaching things you're fearful of. Start actually dipping your feet a little bit in that water of fear. Just try it. Just try the little things, just try it. Maybe even just speaking up with what you need, that itself is overcoming your fear. There's nothing wrong with that. So this, just know that everybody has fears, everybody is fearful, even people who are working have fears. So there's a lot that you know, that is in common to people in general. It's just that they happen to be in a different situation, and so it's nothing to do with your situation. The success equation is confidence plus competence, which will give you success. Once you gain the confidence, you will automatically know where to get the competence from. So confidence is a very important part. I do want to say, nothing binds you except your thoughts, nothing limits you except your fears, and nothing controls you except your beliefs. If you have any questions, we'll take some questions. Otherwise, I would like everyone to do this exercise, which will help you figure out what you want to do out of in your life. So, Kashali?
Yeah, Bhavna. So, in case if anybody has any questions to raise, you can do that. Otherwise, we go for this vision and
Okay, I
goal
see some
setting.
questions. I do see some questions. How do we approach the company when the recruiters would not even glance the CV owing to a long break? Okay, so again, I would like to repeat, relook at your CV. Put yourself in the shoes of the recruiter and think about how do they think this person will add value to my organization. Okay, so definitely a revamp of the resume is needed, and it'll have to be, you'll have to be more intelligent and smart about the resume. I'm not asking you to lie on your resume, absolutely not promoting that, but use the skills that you have in a way, and you know you need to revamp your resume for sure. Then that's what I would like to say, Aruna. There is a lot of work that you will have to do. You will have to, if you think that taking up a training which is going to be very useful, then highlight those strong points in your resume. That will catch their attention. Okay, so that's your goal is that they need to get something that they want. So figure out how to modify your own self to give them what they want. Neha, even I was rejected many times only because I told consultants and HR that I have a break. So if that's not working for you, don't do it. They don't need to know that you took a break. Nobody needs to know you took a break. can explain the break in many different ways. The important point to note is what is the value? You have to think of the HR people and the companies as your customers. If you were trying to sell something and you're selling your talent, your skills, why would anybody want to buy that? How will they gain from it? So if you look at it from that perspective and modify it, that should help. If you're honest about the break, the IT industry would not even consider us, and all we need is that one opportunity, how to go about it. So I understand that, and in the end, I'm also going to offer some internships, and there are many, 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 many different things that you can do right now. There are so many friends of mine. There are so many companies. If it requires you to work for a company for 3 months for free, go do it. A lot of people who work for me, they intern with me. I have 9th grade girls, 10th grade students who intern with me. And I tell you, they are so smart at managing the social media. 9th grader came to me and I'm like, you're in 9th grade, you'll have exams. I'm sorry, I can't help you because I was looking for interns. Intern somewhere for 3 months where you think you're learning a very, very decent skill, which anybody would want in the market. When you sit with a lack mindset, the chances and the ideas are going to be difficult to come to. Reach out to the startups and say, hey, I want to work for you for free for 3 months. Anyway, you're waiting, you're looking for a job, and you're not earning money in that period. Might as well go and work. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Might as well go and work for free for 4 hours and just gain that experience and gain that knowledge. I'm happy to provide reference to a lot of people, and there are many, many people. There's so many startups that are willing to do that. For those of you outside of Bangalore, um, in Bangalore there are a bunch of startups. I'm looking for people who are willing to work remotely, and I have some very exciting work that I'm going to be, doing. I'm creating programs, so there are so many people who will be willing to do that for you. So once you decide which is the direction that you want to take, and not just take up any job that comes your way and then be miserable, choose what are you good at, what are your strengths, and go for it. Do a 3-month internship, learn, and then the moment you go there and you make yourself valuable, you will know the latest of what's happening right now. They will not even care about your break anymore if they see what you already know. So it's not that they are very fond of looking at your break, and the companies themselves are now, they call it latent talent. The companies themselves are now looking to hire people who've been on a break because there's such a shortage of talent. So we really need to come out of the woodworks and go and capitalize on that. How do you educate recruiters on how to deal with returning mothers, women restarting career? Why should they deal with you? You need to deal with them. You are the one who wants the job. So you need to step out of your contained thinking and create yourself and make yourself valuable and pitch yourself so that they want to hire you. See, you cannot change the world. Don't try to paint people green. You need to wear the green glasses yourself. So that's the point I want to highlight. And we tend to do that because we feel helpless. And some of the things that we do, we don't want you feeling helpless. There are people who will help you. I'm not denying that you don't need help. We all need help. We all need support. Okay? But let's try to first change ourselves a little bit on how we look at things. And then these people will start responding to you differently. I had so many people who were very kind enough to take my interviews, but now those same people are coming back to me. In the beginning, they rejected me. They were like, oh, what are you trying to even do? And I'm an HR, especially with HR, because learning and development is very closely tied to HR. And I had no prior HR experience. So everybody told me you get a job in HR. But learning and development and leadership development is such a new field that even a lot of these people didn't understand what I was doing. But the leaders understand what I do. So those are the people that I talk to. They get it, and then they further take it down. Recruiters may need to change their outlook towards restarters, but you have no control over that, right? You cannot go and change each and everybody's mindset, but you can change how you position yourself. If you show them confidence, I bet you they will hire you. So yeah, Julia, you are a recruiter. So it's great that we have a recruiter in our midst. So the recruiter, would you like to say something, Julia, on this front? Because you have definitely more experience than I am.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
please
we
go
can hear
ahead.
you.
Hello? Right. No, Bhavna, I think this is great. I hear all women at this point saying that companies uh, and us look at breaks as breaks. And I think, this session is going to help me look at things slightly differently. But I am going to validate everything that you said. We are very open to meeting women who are ready to step out, who are ready to showcase what they have been doing or can do. But often we meet a lot of women who only want to know what the other party can offer. So, that becomes a little bit of a challenge, right? Because then you're not meeting even halfway. So I
Right.
completely want to say that you are telling everyone exactly the same things that I say and endorse. I often call anyone wanting to start a career again, or get into another job after a break, to come and meet me, and they will have problems even doing that. So if you're not willing to invest even that much time, uh, it's very difficult for us to assess how comfortable you will be to taking up or getting into something full time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
yes, I mean, this is interesting, but that most people think that we also have this mind block, but it's not really that, because companies, like you have repeatedly said, are looking for women to come back into the workforce.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So I think that victim mindset that I mentioned earlier, right? We tend to get into that victim mindset because our needs are not being met. The moment we
Yes.
step up and ask for our needs, our very basic needs to be met, that automatically will give you the confidence and you will stop victimizing yourself. And I think that's the biggest, like I said, I myself have been in those situations, ladies. So please do not think that I'm coming from a place. But when I learned that this is not going to help, that it's, oh, these HR people don't know. And mind you, when I got capable enough, I started getting all the opportunities. Those same people turned around and said, hey, why don't you come and do a workshop for us? For us. Or even if it's not some of the same people, there will be other people who will start noticing that you're capable. You have to trust that people can gauge where you are at in your journey. And especially people who work on a daily basis are in job. The moment they see somebody who's lacking confidence, they are not rejecting you for your break. I think everybody needs to get that clear in their head. Don't wear the mantle of a break or a chip of that break on your shoulder.
In fact, to add
And
on here to what Julia said, Jobs for Her basically runs an ambassador program whereby we are a network of women who are looking to restart their career. So the women who join in into this program initially come with a very low confidence level, and we try to educate them that whenever you're looking to hit up to something, try to hit it right. Don't hold yourself back that you're not able to do it. There'll be family pressure, there'll be commitments that will be coming up, but when you're committed to go for an interview with someone, make sure that you're there. So these kind of really helps when you're really looking to restart. Be up to it. Don't hold yourself back onto it. So that's a valid point which Julia shared.
right, absolutely. You also have to take, you cannot say that because I took a break, that is the reason, but deep down you're not doing anything on your end to actually go make that difference. So so stop fooling yourself and around. People around say that I really want to get back, because then you will have to step up. It will require, and this is just the start. As you're working, there's a lot more that will be required off of you. Uh, so, I really want us all to do this exercise, and the way we do this exercise is, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, then that's great. But if not, if you even just want to think about it, I want you all to imagine. Are we ready? I'm assuming everybody's ready. But I want you all to imagine that you're sitting at your desk and there's that little calendar in the front where the day changes as you go along. And you slowly find that it's 23rd February 2017, and it changes to 24th February, and so on and so forth, until you are 23rd March 2017, and it moves rapidly. And I want you to imagine it's 23rd February 2022, 5 years from now, and the calendar has stopped at that date. and try and think about the fact that you've achieved your dream. You have this big impossible dream, and that you've achieved this dream. And I want you to imagine what that feels like. Don't clutter the dream with how you'll get there. Just only focus on the what first. Focus on what it is that you want. Don't let those fears, those limiting beliefs to come up, and just only think about what will give you so much joy that that joy is exploding out of you. What will that feel like, and what will you see? What will you hear? Who's around you? What are you wearing then? What will it smell like? How does your face curve? How does your lip curl as you smile when you're living that dream? And just write down what that dream is, if you can. Take a minute to write that, another couple of minutes, and write down what your impossible dream is. It's only yours. It's not your family's dream. It's not your child's dream. It's not your mother's dream. It's not your father's dream. It is your dream. It is only your dream. And it is as impossible as it can be. It's wonderful, and it gives you joy, and it makes you feel so, so happy that you can't even explain it. Once you have that down, try and understand what will this dream give you? What is the purpose behind your big dream? What is it that you love to do that this dream will allow you to do? And why is this dream so important to you? Also, what change can it bring in the world? Sometimes people, almost everybody, after they've taken care of themselves, they really want to help other people. Will it change the world in any way? Or it could be as simple as you getting to do what you love doing on a daily basis. What is it that really, really makes you happy to do? Do you like to sing? Do you like to dance? Do you like to cook? Do you like to just sit and read all day long? Okay? Now I want you to think about the 5 things that you need to achieve your big dream. What are the 5 things from this whole universe that I need to be able to achieve my big dream? There's no limits on what you can get. It's unlimited. There is no lack. Everything is available to you. And if everything was available to you, what are the 5 things that you need to be able to achieve your dream? Think hard, think hard. Most people get stuck with 4. Be as specific as you can be with what you need now. When you were thinking of the dream, you could be vague and bizarre, but now be specific. Be as specific as, I want this, I need this. This is my need. So get those 5 things down, and I want you to write down the very first step that you will take to achieve your dream today. The very first step, the very smallest, teeniest bit of step that you will take, whether it's going and reading your resume, whether it's making that phone call, whether it's just talking to somebody, whether it's just going to exercise in the evening, whether the very first step, the only very one small step that you need to take. And also write down how will you celebrate when you've accomplished this first step. So you have to remember, especially in leadership, we teach that when you are trying to do big, lofty things, first of all, you tend to be able to innovate, to be able to achieve big things, long targets. You need to first be able to imagine those, visualize those. If you can't visualize that, you're not even going to get there, right? So it's important when you're running a marathon to also celebrate the smaller steps that you take along the way. So the way I want everybody to really look at it and understand it is that don't stop yourself from having those big dreams. Have those big dreams, because if you don't have them, you will not have the direction in which you want to go to. But as you're moving to that big dream, you need to take smaller steps towards it. And the smaller steps need to be celebrated to give you that kind of energy and that nutrition to take you to the next step. Don't try to have all the steps in front of you at the same time. It's almost like when I went to drive. When you get in a car to drive to a destination, you know where you want to go to. You have a final destination. You know how to drive. You're not drunk. You have the skills to drive. You get in the car. But when you start the car, you don't know which bike is going to come in front of you, which person is going to come in front of you, when you need to stop, brake, when you need to accelerate. So leave that to being in the moment of as you move forward. But really, really, you know, with all your heart, dream that big dream. If it is that job that you want, if it's something that you want to accomplish, but make sure that you take it one step at a time. And when you're in that step, you be. If you have decided that you are going to, send out or revamp your resume, I want you to put an end date to that. Put it in your calendar. If you want to work part-time, visualize that you're already working part-time and put 2 days in your calendar when you're working, even if you're not working right now. So you build your life that is leadership. You decide what you want and you gain that confidence to do it. I want everybody, whoever's looking for a job here, who says they're looking for, go put in your calendar today that you are going to work for 4 hours, for example, if you want to work part-time, or you're working for 8 hours. Go and put that in your calendar for today, that you're already working, that this is the time when you're working. Or find the time that's suitable for you. Only you want to work only weekends, put that in your calendar. Put in your calendar what works for you and go and own that. The next thing I want everybody to do is take out your phones and first think for a minute of how you're going to build your support network. Who are the 2 or 3 people that you trust who will genuinely be happy when you go and restart your career? It could be an old boss, it could be a friend, it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be somebody whom you know very well. It could be somebody who's inspired you, who's willing to talk to you. Just think of 3 people or 2 people, and I need you to send them a message right now. Take out your phone, send them an email or send them a message that, hey, I need to have a conversation with you about something very important that I'm going to be doing. Please don't be shy. Please take out your phones and do this right now. I'm going to insist that everybody do this right now. Is there anyone who cannot think of anybody at all? Yes, internships help. Somebody asked me this question. Internships do help. I'm from Bombay too. Bombay is a big place. Just reach out, register in Intern Shala or Intern Fever. These are internship sites as well. Write to companies directly that you're looking for an internship for 2 to 3 months. Reach out to startups. They are forever looking for interns. They have a lot of work to do, and please send me your resumes, all of you, because I'm looking for interns too. But is there anybody who does not have a single person that they've written a message or an email to? Because I'm going to ask that person to make me their support group. Anyway, so, and Julia is also watching. She's also there to help in any way. So you have 2 people. We will take questions now, and I also want to say that send in your resumes for remote flexible internships to me, and email me for another exercise which is very helpful in terms of the balancing part. So I'll send you guys another exercise that you can do later. And check out my website for also one-on-one coaching programs. This is my email, info@talentpowerpartners.com. And also bhavnadalal@gmail.com is one of the emails, but you can reach me at info@talentpowerpartners.com, and you can even fill in the contact us form on my website. So yeah, I'll take on, we've gone a little bit over time, but I'll take on any questions, any more questions if anybody has.
Any questions, people? You can please ask it. Okay, I think no more questions coming up. Bhavna, I would like to thank you for the time and the value add that you've given through this webinar was really among us. It was like really a great support for the ambassadors, for women who are looking to restart their career. I really appreciate the effort that you put in to take this presentation forward. There are many pointers which you've highlighted, which are never been expressed in any forum that we have done. And I'm sure that it will definitely help each one of you restart their career. I love the exercise that you did with them, and also you gave them a channel on how to develop that support system. Everybody keeps highlighting that you need to develop that support system, how you need to do it. Nobody's aware about. So you actually brief them on how the steps is what they can take forward. And the biggest point was ask for what you need. Many a time women don't do that. Are asking what you actually need. They always expect the other person to give them what they need, and it is very difficult for anybody to do that. So whenever you reach out for the interviews, it's very, very important. Ask for what you need. Don't just go begging for jobs, but look for opportunities that is really going to help you. So that was really a value add on what you shared. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm sure each one of you would benefit from that. You have Bhavna's email address on the portal. You can also follow her on a mentor page. I've shared the link with you all, so you can do that. Uh, I think with that, we wind up the session. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Bhavna.
so much, Charlie, and it was my pleasure to be here. And you can also follow me on LinkedIn, and I write, like I said, for Forbes. You can follow me there as well, and also on Jobs for Her as a mentor. But please do reach out to me for the internships. There is a lot of learning that happens on leadership itself when a lot of people have mentored, when they have interned with me. So just do send me your resumes or whatever it is, reach out to me, and then I'm sure we'll be able to do something where I can help you with some skill to get going. And I'll give you a reference and say that you worked for me or interned with me. So
Great. Fine.
okay, thank you so much. Thank you, and I wish the very best to all the ladies here. Wishing you really, really the best of luck.
Thank you, people. You can log out now.